Hello students, teachers, parents, history nerds, hello everybody. And welcome to Nutshelled History, where we lay out the facts, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We continue with our Early America series by looking at drafting a constitution. Take a look in the description for a fill-in-the-blanks worksheet that goes along with this video. The only thing that I ask is that you like and subscribe. Okay, let's go. The Constitutional Convention met in Philadelphia in 1787. The 55 delegates came from 12 states. Wait, didn't we have 13 states back then? Yes, we did, but Rhode Island did not send any delegates. Among the delegates that showed up were respected leaders, including Ben Franklin, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams. They agreed that we needed a stronger national government, but not one that resembled the British monarchy. Although their initial purpose was to revise the Articles of Confederation, delegates agreed that revising the Articles was not enough. A new framework of government was needed, and two plans were suggested. James Madison and Edmund Randolph proposed the Virginia Plan, which called for a strong central government with three branches: judicial, executive, and legislative. The judicial branch would consist of a system of courts to settle disputes involving national issues. An executive branch with one chief executive would carry out the laws. Congress would remain the legislative branch, but this plan added a second house and based representation on population. You see, Virginia had a relatively large population within it, and it felt that since they had more people, they should get more slices of the pizza. Because basing representation on a state's population would leave them at a disadvantage, small states opposed the changes in the legislative branch. They offered their own plan called the New Jersey Plan. While having a three-branch government, it called for a single House of Congress where all the states would have equal representation. They didn't want to get bullied by the larger states. Roger Sherman of Connecticut proposed a compromise. He suggested that in the lower House of Congress, the House of Representatives, each state's representation would be based on population, and larger states would have more representatives. These members would be directly elected by the people. In the upper house, the Senate, each state would have 2 senators, regardless of population. Senators would be chosen by the state legislatures. Sherman's solution was called the Great Compromise. It provided a peaceful solution to a problem that had threatened to bring the convention to a halt. Slavery also divided the convention. The southern states wanted enslaved people to count toward representation in the House, but not for taxation. Northerners argued that enslaved people should not be counted. It was agreed that each enslaved person would count as 3/5 of a person. This was called the 3/5 Compromise. Yuck, I love you, America, but you aren't perfect. A second dispute arose when Northern delegates called for a ban on the slave trade. A compromise was reached whereby Congress could not outlaw the slave trade for at least 20 years. After that, Congress could regulate the slave trade if it wished. The Constitutional Convention delegates signed the Constitution in September 1787. 3 delegates refused to sign, fearing that the national government was too powerful. Now the states had to approve the new plan for government. Each state would call a convention to decide whether to ratify or approve the Constitution. Once 9 states endorsed it, the Constitution would become law. Okay, it's recap time. Shays' Rebellion had shown our founding fathers that under the Articles of Confederation, our national government was too weak. So a bunch of rich dudes, probably in powdered wigs, went to Philadelphia to fix the Articles. They soon agreed to start over and create a whole new constitution. Of course, they didn't agree on a few things. Key to their disagreements were about representation in Congress. Highly populated states favored the Virginia Plan because it wanted representation based on population. Smaller states were on New Jersey's team. The New Jersey Plan wanted one house in Congress with equal representation for all states. The convention almost fell apart until Connecticut came to the rescue and basically blended the two plans. One house with equal reps and one house based on population. Then, the South wanted slaves to count as population so that they would get more peeps in Congress, but the northern states said no. They compromised again with the disgusting 3/5 compromise. After a few more compromises were made, The delegates voted to approve it and sent it to the states for ratification. There you have it, folks. That is drafting a constitution nutshelled. Thanks for stopping by Nutshelled History. Go a little nuts on those like and subscribe buttons. Are you a little nuts? Let us know in the comments down below.